Hi, everybody, and sorry, Belinda did something silly again. So, before I introduce us, I might as well just go ahead and give a plug. I pulled up my Power BI user group meeting, which will be on YouTube Live next Monday. So, Devin Knight from Pragmatic Works, who is a fabulous guy. Ooh, I'm hearing myself. There we go. Okay. And he's going to be presenting on storytelling with Power BI, and I've seen him do that one. It's really kind of cool. So here we are, Power Platform Share. So we're going to start over again. We've already went through the intro once, but we'll do it again. So welcome, everybody. I'm Belinda Allen, and my co-host are with me as always. This time I'm going to start in the different order. We're going to stay on the East Coast. Mariano Gomez coming to us from Atlanta.
Hey, everybody. Hope you enjoyed this session with us today. And certainly, we're enjoying some great time having fun at Belinda's expense, trying to get all this stuff going. So, once again, thank you for joining in today.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
And then also we have from the West Coast, Mr. Steve Endow. Hello, Steve.
Greetings from sunny Los Angeles. Hello, everyone.
Great. And last time we had some technical difficulties, so we invited our dear friend Reza Dorrani back to finish showing us lots of cool things that he's done. So I'm assuming you're still in San Diego area, Reza?
Yes, I am like 3 hours away from Mr. Steve and enjoying very similar weather, I guess.
Oh, nice, nice, nice. Good to hear that. So, yeah, we have lots of cool things that we want to look at today. So, Reza has some more things he's showing us that he's been working on, because that's what this is all about. Just an opportunity for us to share cool things we've been doing and things we've been learning with each other, and giving us an opportunity to learn from each other while we pass it on to other people as well. And then Mariano is going to treat us. He did something very cool last weekend, right?
Yes, last weekend.
And he participated in a hackathon.
I certainly did. That was the MBAS hackathon. So, Hack for Good. It was prior or the weekend prior to MBAS. So, yeah, I'll be happy to talk to you about that.
And you had a really hot team full of dynamic individuals.
Yes, we actually had a really great team, and we'll talk about it later on.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. So, okay, everyone, don't forget that the chat is up, so we'll be there to answer some chat things. And meanwhile, Reza, why don't you go ahead and take over the screen, and then
Sure.
let's go ahead and see what cool things you have.
Absolutely. Let me know when you guys can see my screen.
We see it.
All right. Okay, so the first thing we will look at today is the new geospatial features that were announced on 13th of April 2020. And as part of the new geospatial features, Microsoft introduced a new interactive map component as part of Power Apps. And this interactive map component, as you can see in the GIF, is extremely dynamic. It leverages Azure Maps at the back end. You can dynamically pass data to it, plot points on the map, cluster pins, and many, many other good features that are available as part of this new component that is currently available in private preview. So I have been very deeply associated with the private preview of the geospatial components. I have been working with the product team as well on this. And as part of an app that I was working on for COVID-19, a tracking-based application that I had built, I was leveraging those static Bing map components in Power Apps, which was, again, it's something that requires additional effort to build and set up. And when these new interactive maps components came out, I actually went ahead and modified my COVID-19 tracking application so I could leverage these new components and provide some great feedback. So what we are going to look at today is the component in action. And then I will also show you how I'm leveraging it in my COVID-19 tracking application. I'm assuming my screen is good.
Yep.
All right, thank you. So what we are looking at right now is one of the sample apps that get deployed once you sign up for the private preview of the geospatial components. The link to joining the private preview is on the same blog post that was put out by Microsoft. It's right at the bottom, and I will put it in the chat window, Belinda, so you can share it with the folks on the call as well, whoever would like to sign up for this.
Okay.
So as part of the private preview experience, one of the sample apps that's provided is an app that looks like this. It's a very simple, basic app. And this app has some sample data with latitude and longitude coordinates defined. And as you can see at the bottom right here is the new interactive map component. As part of this interactive map component, the key features here are all the sample data right here is plugged into this new map component. And it's as easy as setting a property called items on the map component. Of course, it expects a peculiar format. I will talk about the format later. But if you look at the test data, all it has is latitude, longitude, and name. That's all this data set
right this
has.
moment, but I'll unmute
And
in a
when you
moment.
pass this data to this map component, it automatically fetches the latitude, longitude, and starts plotting the points on a real map, interactive based experience. Now, how is it interactive? First thing, it has zoom in and zoom out capabilities. Second, you can change the pitch of the map. Right, so I can zoom in, change the pitch, zoom out. Plus, I can also change the rotation of the map. So I can rotate this from this angle or rotate it from a different angle, and I can zoom in as much as I feel like. And I can use my mouse as well to zoom in and zoom out. So an extremely powerful capability for building interactive maps. And I can think of so many use cases here with the help of this new component that is a part of the Power Apps Suite.
Can you share one with me? Because as you were showing this, I was trying to think about a use case. I always go to use cases.
Okay. So some of the good use cases around this is number one is, for example, would be I work based out of Houston, Texas primarily. Right now I'm in San Diego, but I work with a lot of companies that basically oil-based companies, and they have rigs. And more or less their rigs, they have onshore rigs and offshore rigs. The ones that are offshore are rigs that frequently move. And I remember building a lot of these Power App based solutions for these organizations wherein I had to use either static maps or provide some custom based solution. And all we had to do is call an API which had the live information of where their rigs are and plotted on a map so that their users could visualize where exactly the position of the rigs is at the moment. So one of those cases was a very common use case. I built that solution for 2 or 3 organizations in Houston. So with this new feature, we can easily get rid of all those custom components and static maps and actually have these live interactive based maps and leverage this new component without writing a single line of code.
Very cool.
So let me show you how we get around using this map. So this is the sample data, of course. I will go ahead and create a brand new screen. And in my scenario, let's say I have a data set. And this data set is tracking the Power Platform World Tour locations. Of course, these are old. These are 2019 locations. And right now, everything's virtual thanks to COVID. So we don't need to worry about any attendance in person for now. And as you can see in my backend data source, literally I have a latitude and longitude based columns in SharePoint. And I also have an address field in SharePoint because I want to show you how the map interacts with different columns. I also have a property called color, and it's literally a text column where I'm hard coding the color value of the pin that I want to plot on the map. So the map has a lot of additional things you can do, like change the pin colors and use an address to drive the location plotting on the map, or you can even use latitude, longitude. So it can go either ways. Of course, your address has to be a valid address, otherwise it will not be able to plot it on the map. So heading back to my app, in this scenario, I will just go and add a very simple data table that talks to that same SharePoint list right here. And once you deploy the preview bits for the address component or the geospatial components, as you can see, you will have this option for a map component that is currently in preview. And once I select this, it will drop the map on the screen. And the first thing you notice is it's showing you exactly where I am right now. That's because it also has an inbuilt property, and you can turn that on or turn that off, that uses your current location to show where you are located. Of course, I don't want people to see where I am right now, so I'm just going to zoom out a little. So that's point number one. So you can even use, because Power Apps has the capability to track your location, of course, they've leveraged the same feature and pushed that functionality over to the interactive map component. Now, let's say I'm trying to build a dynamic map scenario here, wherein when I select an item in the data table, I want that exact location to be plotted on the map. So in order for me to leverage that, all I have to do is go back to my app, copy the name of my table, go back to my interactive map, and the first thing it is asking me is for the item. So I'm going to say data table.selected. That means whatever item I have selected in my data table, please plot that on the map. Right now, all I've done is provided the source. I have not defined the latitude and the longitude. And there are properties that define that. One of them is called items latitude. So all I got to do here is I got to tell this that you need to pick this from the latitude column of my data source. So here's my data source, and pick this from the latitude column. And exactly the same thing I have to do for the longitude column. And I can do this for address as well. I just wanted to show you this scenario right here. And the moment I plot these, right, you will notice that as I play my app and I start picking, like for example, I picked San Diego right now. So it exactly maps it to the Power Platform board to our location that we had in San Diego, because it's leveraging the latitude and longitude properties coming from my data table in this scenario. So it's extremely dynamic. Now, the pin currently does not have any text associated with it. There is a property for that as well. It's called the label of the item. And once again, I'm going to pick my data source and specify which column will give that value. I'm going to pick the title column. And the moment I pick that, and if I play my app, you will notice at the same time, it just says San Diego right on top of my pin. So if I pick Atlanta, it's going to plot Atlanta, and it's going to put the pin right there on the coordinates and specify the title on top of this. So it's very intuitive, it's very interactive, it's very dynamic, because Power Apps can talk to your data sources, can talk to any of your APIs. Once you pull that data in, the world is at your disposal, because literally once you have the data, just provide that data set to your map, and you can literally play with this map.
Very cool.
One other property that I wanted to showcase is like the pin color. So as you can see, by default, the color of the pin is always going to be blue. I can change this to any color of my choice. So if I pick red, Atlanta shows up as red. But what if I want to plot the color also dynamically? Well, you can do that as well. And in my scenario, all I have to do is pick my data table. So data table dot the selected value of my data table. And because I have a color property in my list already defined, I'm just going to leverage that color property. And now if I play my app, you will notice that Atlanta has the color purple associated with it. So it shows up as purple. If I pick San Diego has green. So it's plotting it as green. So I've even made the color property dynamic now. And you can do this for any property that is going to be exposed as part of the interactive map component.
You could even, in doing that, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, Steve. You could
No,
even do if statement or, for conditional. Yeah,
Yep,
so
of
if
course.
it's like, if attendance is greater than X, then make it green. And if it's less than Y, make it red.
Absolutely.
So I have two questions for you, Reza.
Yes.
can you use data elements or geographic elements other than pinpoint latitude, longitude, such as zip code, county, or other larger geographic entities?
Currently, no, because you're plotting a point. It has to be very specific.
Okay.
So you have to give an actual address, or you can define the latitude and longitude. Now, if you define an address that is very generic, like if I just say New York, then it's going to just plot a point at the center of New York. That's what the pin is going to go ahead and do.
It'll put a pin at one geographic location. It wouldn't allow you to highlight by county.
No, you would have to drop multiple pins in that case, unfortunately, for now.
Okay, and it sounds like that is likely a limitation of the Power App's interaction with this map control, not necessarily the back end being mapped.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Got it.
And just to add, I have been a part of this private preview of this map component, and the dev team behind this is extremely responsive. If you are a part of the private preview, trust me, half of the features you see here, I'm so happy because I voted for them. Like the color property that you're looking at right now, that's something that I was like, no, it has to be there. I want colorful pins. And the team listens, and this is our chance, right? This is our chance to make sure this component comes out right. And it's open for anyone to join. So
excellent. And I have a second question related to that. Is it possible to have a second or third data source that overlays on the same map?
Currently, no. There has to just be one data set. But in Power Apps, I can create a collection that mixes and matches from multiple data sources.
Okay.
So you could leverage that.
I'll share this scenario. This is a real world scenario. So there are companies like this. I worked with one. It was a nationwide commercial roof maintenance company. So every shopping center, every Walmart, every Starbucks has a contract with a company maintaining their roof. So if the roof leaks, they pick up the phone and the local contractor comes and services them. So they need to know all the locations of their customers, that's one, or all the locations of their service calls. But I'm thinking that if you could get weather data at the county or zip code or whatever granular level you want, you can overlay that on the map and correlate it with your service calls and have some predictive measures to know, okay, this county in Georgia is experiencing a storm and we have 25 customers in that county. We need to start rolling teams to anticipate that. So that's what I'm just thinking when I'm seeing this, like, yes, plotting points that can produce some interesting scenarios, but if you can overlay 2 or 3 layers of data and correlate that generic data or your data pool with your real life business data, you can produce some really valuable information.
Absolutely.
You could add some predictive.
I really like your scenario.
You could add some predictive analytics on top of it, though, couldn't you? And
well, but I think he's saying at this point, this preview control only supports access to a single data set. Now, you could potentially expand that data set, but I think it would be nice if you could say, okay, that hotel in San Diego where the Power Platform is occurring, let's have an additional layer on top of that that shows temperature, weather, storms, traffic, whatever that other data layer is. And that correlates your business data with some other unrelated data set.
And Reza, I see you answer the question online, but if you could show us, someone asked about plotting 2 spaces or 2 locations simultaneously.
Yeah. So I built an app for COVID-19 tracking. It's a COVID-19 based Power Platform solution. It's not just an app because it has a lot more than just an app within this. It has a virtual agent. It uses the mixed reality 3D model. It has a lot of things to it, but the focus for today's demo is purely on the map. So for the individual who asked the question on can I plot multiple locations or maps simultaneously? Absolutely. What we are looking at right now is the actual live. In fact, this is probably delayed by an hour. I'm reading this data from the Johns Hopkins University web service. I'm pulling that data in, and as you can see right here within the map, it is plotting multiple points, and there is no limits to how many points you can plot. As you can see, I'm able to plot all the points on a world map right here and use all the features of zoom, pitch, changing the rotation, And there are many additional features like clustering. Like as you can see, there are a lot of points here. Like there are 25 points here. So as I zoom in, it will start breaking up the cluster for me. So as I start zooming in, the cluster keeps breaking apart and it's showing me exact coordinates based on the different states. Now this is a classic example, Steve, of what you mentioned. You see it is pinpointing right in the center of Indiana. That's because the address is just coming back as Indiana.
Yep.
It's not based on a specific county because Johns Hopkins is not giving me that information. Right. But if you have a scenario wherein you have that kind of information readily available, you can leverage that to plot it on the map. So these are some of the features. Of course, there are a lot more features that I'm not talking about right now, but these are some of the key features as part of the interactive map component. So I hope this demo gives you a lot of insights into what is possible now with the Power Platform.
So to go back to that question again, in the previous example you were showing us, I think it's a limitation, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, on the form, on the data table itself, that you can only select one record. You can't multi-select records there. So the answer to that particular scenario is no. But in this circumstance, you certainly could. It depends how you're getting your data, right?
Yep.
Very cool.
Very cool.
Thank you.
And it's super responsive. I mean,
oh yeah,
that's what's kind of nice. You're not seeing a lag as it refreshes.
No.
It seems to all be client side.
Yeah. Yeah. And just to prove my point, if I change my filter on the top, look at how seamless it is right here. So if I pick country Italy, look at how seamlessly it just takes me there. The experience is just seamless.
Yeah, as you said, it's better than any of the static map components that we used to work with in the past, and certainly much more responsive.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I was thinking of something like this would be kind of cool in, like if you have a company that does trucking of any sort, to sporadically like track where they are, what they're doing, especially if like they're making deliveries. So when they pull it up and they open up the app, it automatically creates a data record that tracks the longitude and latitude for them to just finish filling out the scope.
Yeah. And once again, this is an opportunity to provide feedback. If you feel there's something missing in this component, and you will only realize that once you play with this component. So I'll highly recommend everyone to sign up for the private preview, play with the bits, provide your feedback. And this private preview is open for everyone. That's the beauty of this private preview. So please go ahead and sign up for it. That's my recommendation.
If you could go ahead while you're still showing this, if you could populate it in the chat, the preview.
The link to the private preview?
Yep, and I'll copy it and then paste it in.
Absolutely. It's coming your way, Belinda. So this is a link to the blog post, and at the bottom of the blog post is the link to sign up for the private preview right here.
Cool.
Okay, now we will completely switch context to something completely different in the Power Platform. And this one is on a new member that has recently made its way into the Power Platform family. And if you've never heard about it, or if you've never tried this out, this is called Power Virtual Agents. The Power Platform has currently 3 core components: Power Apps for rapid app development, Power Automate for automating your business processes, and Power BI for analyzing your data. Now, the 4th pillar of the Power Platform is what I will be demoing today. And this one is called Power Virtual Agents, which enables you to build intelligent, no-code, and I will literally call this no-code, chatbots within a matter of minutes. So your subject matter experts can create powerful bots using a guided, no-code graphical experience. So before I get into the details of this, of how I built this bot, I will first showcase a demo of the bot. I'll take questions and then I'll show you the different components involved in building this bot. So if you can see my screen right now, I have this test chat window open here, which is going to be the experience for my business users. And these bots can be deployed in any location of choice. It could be in Microsoft Teams, it could be on your company's portal, it could be in Slack, it could be on your custom website, your choice. So I will go ahead and just say hi. And the first thing the bot comes back and tells me is, hello, welcome to, and this bot is an organization bot that I built. The key feature that I want to showcase today is the point number 3, which is creating teams. So basically, I've built a bot which gives the user an experience wherein they can have a conversation with a bot. And based on that conversation, the bot will go ahead and start an approval process for creating a team, a Microsoft team. And once approved, the team will get created. And we're going to look at this entire process. So the beauty of bots is it understands natural language processing. So although I am asking it to say create teams, even if I say create me a team, or if I use any other language, because natural language processing is baked into Power Virtual Agents, it's very intuitive enough and it understands the intent of the individual the bot is interacting with. So the first question the bot is asking me is, please enter the name of my team. So in this scenario, I'm going to say Power Platform Share. That's the name of my team. Now it is asking me for a description for the team that I want to create. So I'm going to say sharing Power Platform Knowledge. If I've spelled that right, it's fine. The next thing it is asking me is whether I want to create a private team or whether I want to create a public team. So in this scenario, I'm going to pick a private team. And the moment I confirm all of these data points, now it is asking me to confirm whether I am a part of the organization. That's because I have also baked in authentication into this bot. Power Virtual Agent bots are anonymous by design. However, you can authenticate the user in business scenarios. So in my use case, because they're creating a Microsoft team in my tenant, that's what the request is for. I don't want any user to make that request. I just want people from my organization to make that request. I will force the user to log in. And once I click on login, this is going to log me in and give me a security token. And all I got to do is just put that token in the bot. And once the bot confirms that I am an authenticated user in Active Directory, it's going to go ahead and start the processing. Now, if you notice, the bot has responded to me and given me a nice card-like experience wherein it says your team has been requested and is waiting for approval. You will be notified via email once the team is created. And now to close out the conversation, the bot is asking me if the bot was able to perform all the actions that the user has requested of it. In my scenario, I'm going to say yes. And there is a simple survey-like experience also by default baked into the bot. And I can say, yes, I had a great experience. It was very simple. And no, that's all the conversation I wanted to have with this bot. Now, once I made this request, what happens at the back end is it's actually kicking off a Microsoft flow. I take the word back. It's kicking off a flow.
A Power Automate flow.
A Power Automate flow.
John Levesque told me it's not Power Automate flow. Power Automate is the service, and we build flows in Power Automate. So let's just keep it to flow. All right. So this has gone ahead, and it's basically kicked off a flow. And in the flow, I am able to read all the data that the user has provided in the bot, like the name of the team, the description of the team, and the privacy aspect of the team. And once that data comes in, my flow goes ahead and builds something called as an adaptive card. Now, for folks who've never used adaptive cards before the sessions, not on adaptive cards, but just to let you know, in approval scenarios, you can actually build an adaptive card and post that adaptive card directly to Microsoft Teams. So in my scenario, rather than me going to my email or rather than me going to my Flow mobile app, if I'm a user who works all day on Teams, which I am, the Flow has a bot in Teams known as the Flow bot. And that bot sends me a notification, as you can see right here. Here's the card. It says that a new request has come in, and the request is called Power Platform Share. Reza has made the request, so it's aware of who has made the request. What is the name of the team the individual is requesting? What is the description of the team? And what is the privacy of the team being requested? And me as the approver now, I can decide whether I approve this request or whether I reject this incoming request for setting up this team. In my case, I'm going to be nice and I'm going to say yes, it's all good. And I will go ahead and approve the request. The moment I approve this request, this gets recorded in the system. The user who made the request gets notified, and Flow will go ahead and use the APIs available in Office 365, primarily the Graph APIs, and go ahead and create this team that was requested by the user. And if the demo gods are with me in probably 30 seconds to a minute, we should have this Microsoft team set up right here. So basically what we were able to leverage is a Power Virtual Agent, which is a bot. And there you go. As I talk, the team gets created right here. Here's my team getting set up, and the team is set up as a private team. If I go to manage team right here, it's a private team that has been created, and it has added me as the owner of the team because I was the requester of this team.
You have a question. Can you initiate the bot automatically when a user opens a specific team channel?
Great question. The answer to that now is yes. This was not possible up until a week and a half ago.
Yep.
If you would like to see a demo of that, there is a webinar on Friday at 9 a.m. PST. Microsoft is hosting that webinar. I am actually a part of that. I'll be demoing that very particular feature there. So the answer to your question is yes. You can have a bot directly start a conversation with a user as well. Possible.
That was one of the top features that were requested after the initial release of Power BA. So pretty cool that they incorporated that.
Yeah.
That's very cool. I had not thought about using virtual agent. I mean, if you have a task that is very, very simple and straightforward, instead of building an app, you could build a bot and virtual agent to do it.
So again, from a virtual agent standpoint, the possibilities are limitless, right? In this case, I just showcased a very simple example of creating a Microsoft team. But if your organization has a knowledge repository and users are consistently searching for data in that knowledge repository, you can just train a bot to search that. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And the users can straight away just go to the bot and say, hey, I'm looking out for a document named this. Can you go and look up for a file? And that's exactly what I've built here as well. Of course, it's not a part of the demo for today, but I even have the bot doing this, wherein it can go and search for files, it can go and search my emails, it can go and search my calendar and let me know what's coming up, what's happening, when's my next meeting, is there any task that is pending that I need to take action upon. Again, these are examples of what you could do within Office 365, but you can go beyond this as well, right? Especially a customer-facing bot. So if you guys checked out the Microsoft Business Application Summit, at Embass, they demoed how IKEA leverages a Power Virtual Agent bot to help their customers and how they've significantly reduced the amount of manual interaction between the customer and the person helping the customer on the call, right? Because now the customer can directly talk to the bot and search for product categories, search for information, block appointments. All of that is automated. And the beauty of Power Virtual Agents is that it understands that it cannot handle every aspect of a customer endpoint experience. So if there are certain interactions that the bot has with the customer, and if it is not able to break through, there are ways in which you can then force a redirect out to your agent or force a redirect out to Dynamics Omnichannel. So there are many other capabilities here within Power Virtual Agents, and I have literally just scratched the surface of this demo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like interacting with the smart bot. I do not like interacting with one where all the answers are, I'll have someone call you. That really kind of irritates me. But Very cool.
Now, can one virtual agent spawn or hand off the conversation to another?
So currently, I believe you can hand. So in a bot, what you can do is you can build something known as topics,
Okay.
and one topic can call another topic. So for example, I have a topic which says create a team, and that's exactly what I interacted with.
Okay.
But let's say while creating a team, I came across a scenario wherein no, the user needs to search for any existing teams before going ahead and creating a team, right? Maybe there's already a team available for that specific purpose. So I can ask the question to the user that, hey, I have found these teams. Is this something that you're looking out for? And if the user says yes, maybe then I can route it to a different topic. So you can build multiple topics and you can jump back and forth between topics. In fact, if I go ahead and start this experience right now, so if I say create a team, you will notice how it keeps jumping between topics purely because I have enabled this feature called track between topics. And it will clearly take me to the user experience.
Yeah, so I also think there's an option where you can call a skill, and a skill is directly, you build your skills directly on the bot framework platform. And it's a way of actually covering for other type of
scenarios,
scenarios that you don't have planned in your bot. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Now the bot framework skills takes you into the pro code mode. Yeah. Power Virtual Agents is more low code, to be very honest. It's just like Power Apps and you going ahead and building custom components using PCF. I consider bot framework to be in that realm. But yes, if you've already built skills, as Mariano mentioned, leveraging the bot framework, you don't have to rebuild that entire skill again in PVA. You can just directly go ahead and call that skill or basically integrate it within your virtual agent.
Cool.
Yeah, and Reza, went you and I recently on a PVA workshop. Yeah, that was with you and Charles Sterling, where the PVA team was demonstrating that if all else fails, that will actually take you to Bing.
Yeah. So so what they have added now, and this is one more new feature that just got launched, is something called as system fallback.
Correct.
So if you enable this feature, what happens is you get this additional topic wherein if the bot is not able to handle the request of the user, then you can go ahead and fire additional actions, like for example, search for Bing, or for example, hand off to an agent, right? Or for example, hand it off to Q&A maker in Azure. Maybe you have a question and answer bank that you've already pre-prepared. You can leverage all those features right here.
Yeah, as you said this now, there's literally limitless capabilities built into this stuff. And, it basically requires no code, which is even the most impressive thing ever. So.
And is this, is the bot framework multilingual?
I believe Power Virtual Agents currently only supports a limited set of languages, if I'm not mistaken. I think the bot framework probably handles more, but there are additional languages planned in PVA.
NDA.
No, that was announced in that previous call, so we're good.
Okay, all right, good. Just want to make sure tomorrow we wake up being MVPs.
and the other thing that I want everybody to understand is PVA is, again, it's a new member of this family, but it has been GA now. It's been a while since it's been GA, and GA means general availability. So if you've never played with Power Virtual Agents, I highly recommend you to do so. And if you would like to learn a lot more from start to finish, please join the webinar on Friday, which Microsoft has put out. The link to that is, I will share that link as well with Belinda, and Belinda can post it in the chat.
Great.
Excellent.
Great. That was fantastic. Thank you, Reza, for sharing with us.
Most welcome.
So that was cool. So Mariano, why don't you tell us about your hackathon experience?
Yeah, so week before last weekend, I was participated in the Hack for Good MBUS hackathon. It was a 24-hour global hackathon extravaganza with more than 40 teams from around the world. My team was actually runner-up to the final. We were the Flow Fund team. And, I had the chance to actually hack with some really incredible folks. I had Vivek Babishi, I had April Dunham, um, uh, Gita, I hope I said this right,
You're right.
Sivastave. Yes. I had, thank you. I had John Levesque and Joe Onam. So we actually had quite a bit of fun, put together a solution for COVID-19 again that would basically help um, doctors, or actually no, city planners and engineers in finding and locating spaces that they could turn quickly into makeshift hospitals. In addition, we actually had three different type of bed equipment that you could, configure in those spaces and determine how many beds you needed based on the space capabilities that you have, and place an order that we would store, all the components of that order in CDS, so it could synchronize with your Dynamics 365 environment. So what I'm going to do here is quickly demonstrate what we did, talk about some of the components we used in the process. I'm not going to detail too much of it because Reza had the thought of talking about some of that in our previous session. So please go and check that previous session out. But here's my spacer application, which is what we called it,
So
as you can see.
I have a
Yeah,
question for you before you get going on that. So what kind of data source did you use to find locations? And Reza, don't forget
there you
to
go.
Reza, don't forget to put that link in for your
Yeah.
webinar. But
Yeah, so go ahead.
so how did you find locations?
Well, that's an interesting aspect of it because we did not go for the new geospatial component in mixed reality or in the Power Platform that was released recently or is in preview. We actually use the Bing Maps control, which is what the geospatial control is based on. But here in the locations, if you look at locations, that's exactly what we're doing. We actually subletted the New York area, and we actually went for parks and public locations. So as you can see here, here's my Cascade View neighborhood park. I'm just going to click on that, and that basically is going to bring up that particular location and neighborhood park as an area where we can set up a makeshift hospital. Now, the way this works, and if you actually go to my video that I have on, or the video that the team put together that we have on, you can get it to my channel. Belinda will put a link on my YouTube channel. But you would see me in the back of my yard simulating a big space where we could measure that particular space and figure out how many beds we could fit in there. So I'm just going to go ahead and assume that where I'm currently, the current space I'm in happens to be the space where we want to put this. So you could see, and actually I'm going to just do a quick overview of my room so you could see kind of that space being plotted here and being read by the component. So I'm just going to click here to start the measurement. And as you can see, as soon as I start measuring across the room, you will see that it's calculating the measurement. Boom, I'm done right here. So let's say I'm going to use this point, and then I'm going to start from here again to measure then across the room and put something, let's say, here. So I'm just going to go back, and as you can see the points, see right here, you can identify the measurement. Here you can identify the other measurement. If I hit submit now, or if I capture that and submit it, then it will give me both the width and length measurements of that particular room. So this is super cool because now what I can do, I can say, well, let me see the equipment. And now this is going to blow your mind because I can actually go now and select this, and here comes the mixed reality component into play.
Yep.
So we actually went ahead and loaded a whole bunch of
3D
beds,
models.
3D models for beds. Don't ask me how we found that. I mean, it was actually a challenge to find those online, but we went and got some 3D beds. In this particular one, this is an electrical hospital bed. I can say, okay, I'm cool with that one. So showing the space, and as you can see now, this thing is plotting my space. So let's say I want to put it here. Now you can see that I can click this particular one, and let's say I am very happy with where it's positioned. Now take a look at this, because this is going to blow your mind. I can walk around the actual bed in this space, as you can see it.
Yeah.
Okay, and I can see how it's laid out, and basically I can say this is cool. I'm gonna go back and then place an order, because I really like the way this bed is laid out. I can place an order for this particular one. Okay, so now you can see here, effectively calculated one bed, because that's all I can fit in that space that I measured, and submit that order. Now this is all stored in CDS, and pretty much that's kind of how we did our demo. That was really cool. Given the time that we have, I wanted to make sure you guys had a chance to see this, because I really felt it was really smooth and slick the way we put this stuff together.
You actually made a CAD application with some procurement built around it.
Yeah, so just so you can understand all the stuff that we did, we used the Bing Map control to get a hold of the spaces across New York City. And we could have actually, because we're using the Bing Map control, we could actually get, and Steve, you asked this question before, we could get parks and we could get public spaces or other type of private venues if we wanted to. Yep. That's something that you cannot really do right now with the geospatial control, right? But since we're using the platform control, the Bing Map platform control, we could do that.
Oh, so there's a comment from I'm sorry, I don't know if you pronounce it George or Jorge, but okay, what was that?
So that is super cool, right? It is really mind blowing, and it's not tech for the sake of tech. But if you think about how city planners work, those guys have to go out in the field and start measuring stuff. Yeah, you can have as much information as you want about a specific park, but when you get to that park, you have to walk around the space, measure. And if you've seen how that is done traditionally, it's done with the typical, either the little stick with the roller on the end, or with measuring tapes that extend for hundreds of feet, right? So this is one good way of doing it without necessarily compromising and separating yourselves from your device. Everything gets captured immediately. It uses the latest and greatest technology on Power Apps, which is the mixed reality and geospatial controls. We also leveraging the measuring capabilities that are available on your device. And again, I would love for you to go to see the full video that my team put together for this, because it really explains in detail how we put all this stuff together.
And that's on your that's on your YouTube channel, right?
Yep, that's on my YouTube channel.
Yeah, okay. I put that.
So just to add my thoughts on this, if you guys have not seen it, do check it out. I think it was one of the best, if not for me, it was the best solution that came out of MBAS, purely on the basis of the technology advancements that they've used. It's amazing. All the new features were leveraged, and I know they had a dream team, to be very honest with you. Their team, I don't think any team came close to the talent that was available as part of this team. But I think the solution that they put out was even better than the team that they put together.
Yeah,
it's one of the best solutions.
And one of the things that I like to highlight here is, this literally took little to no code to build it out.
Yeah.
I mean, if we wrote more than 30, 40 lines of code in the traditional sense of code, it was too much. Now think about, if you were to leverage the Azure mixed reality framework, if you were to leverage, writing directly to a database, if you were to leverage, even measuring a space with other type of components, if you had to write all that stuff, let's say in Xamarin, I mean, how much time would it take you to really write this stuff while you think about security, hosting it, deploying it. I mean, this stuff
Mobile
took
app.
us, this stuff literally took us, I would say, 14 solid hours. 4 hours it took us to edit the video. And we had to, probably more time. We spent probably more time editing the video, really, for 5 minutes of footage than it did to put the app together. So.
By the way, don't forget to check out Mariano's PJs in the video.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's different. But yeah, that's Spacer is certainly something that we accomplished in a decent amount of time. But more than anything else, it was the experience of working with such talented team and just everybody putting their brain power together to get this out. So.
When I saw your team, I thought instantly rigged.
No, but as you can tell by the top 3 apps that won the contest, you really had some extremely talented teams, and we only happened to be blessed to have the team we had, but more blessed to be across the the framework and the spectrum with the other guys that were competing and gals that were competing. So can't ask for anything better.
Our community is filled with amazingly smart people, and I'm fortunate to be sitting here talking to 3 of them right now. So that's for darn sure. Thank you, Reza.
Kudos to Vivek and Gita, who worked out on the locations aspect. Definitely kudos to April and myself, who worked out on the measuring aspect. Kudos to Joe, who actually worked out the CDS part, and John for all the editing and video capabilities that he put into it. So it's just, short and sweet.
Fun. So would you do another hackathon?
I would do another hackathon. Actually, Reza, they have the NASA hackathon coming up. So
Is
joining in? Yeah, it's at the end of the month.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So so you got one team member right there.
Yeah. There you go.
Okay.
So Reza, you just signed up.
Yeah, I'm actually doing a demo on May 20th on the Power Apps community call on an app that I built, which showcases mixed reality leveraging NASA 3D models. I actually put a video out on that on my Twitter channel just to give a sneak peek into what that app is, and I built that in 2 hours flat. So you can imagine the possibilities now. It's endless.
Well, cool. Well, I look forward to see what Mariano, your next team, does. Steve, have you ever done a hackathon?
I have not. No. I've probably been too busy. I've seen them for various subjects, but never done one around the work that I do.
So Steve, you're voluntold for the next one.
Yeah, we got you down, Steve.
I'll shake the pom-poms in the background. How's that?
That's all I'm capable of for a hackathon is, just getting coffee and cheering everybody on. So that would be it. All right. Well, I think that's going to bring us to an end. Wow. A lot of cool stuff today. I don't know which I was more interested in, to be honest with you. Really cool stuff.
It's all cool.
It is cool, isn't it? Yeah, every day I'm more and more amazed at what this collection called the Power Platform can do. So for everybody watching on YouTube, thank you so much. And thank you, our esteemed guest, for coming back and continuing to wow us. And
welcome.
As always, thanks to my co-host. So hopefully I will see all of you soon in person.
Thanks for hosting, Belinda.
Yeah, my
Thank
pleasure.
you, Belinda.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone.
Talk to you soon, guys.
Until next time. Ciao.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.